I work out in our little home garage gym, and we've got weights and mats. I try to do a mixture of yoga, Pilates, weightlifting, resistance training, I guess post-menopausal. So it's really important for me, to build muscle. I did find out I have some osteopenia, so that freaked me out. So then I really upped my weight.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You are going to enjoy this conversation with my next guest. When her son survived 2 fentanyl overdoses in just 3 days, Brenda Zane turned pain into purpose. Today, she's helping parents worldwide do the same. She's the co-founder of Hopestream Community, host of the Hopestream Podcast, which is a top 1% podcast. You absolutely need to subscribe to it. And a certified parent coach equipping families with the tools they need to help their kids survive and thrive. Welcome, Brenda.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Excellent. Let's just dive right into the first question. What advice would you give to parents who want to build resilience through exercise, but feel like they have no time or energy?
Well, I, first of all, can 1000% relate to that because especially if you have a teenager or a young adult child who's struggling in whatever way, it can just feel like, exercise is the last thing that you want to do. What I would say is mentally place exercise right up there with things like getting your child treatment, finding them a therapist. It's one of the things that you are 100% in control of that will make not only your life better, but it also actually helps them a lot. So I would just say kind of flip the script on how you think about, a lot of times we think about exercise as like, oh, something I have to do. It's something I have to do to keep myself healthy. And that can be really hard when 100% of your brain is really focused on, I got to keep my kid healthy. So changing how you think about it as a tool to actually connect better with your child and to be able to have the resilience that you need, because kids are hard and they last a long time and we have to last a long time with them, right? Like we can't, I have this analogy I talk about, which is, if you're flying along next to your child and they start to tank for whatever reason, and then you go down with them, all of a sudden you're both like crashed and burned. So you have to keep yourself up here, as hard as that can be sometimes, so that when they're starting to pull themselves out, you're still flying healthy.
Okay. So much of what you do is about helping parents with their kids. They're struggling as parents. Kids are making decisions that are not leading in the right direction. How does your advice gear toward the parent taking care of the kid, but also the parent taking care of themselves? Because what I'm just hearing you say is like, what I think I heard you say is that parents should take care of parents first. Is that what you're saying or not?
That is what I'm saying. And it's extremely counterintuitive because kids can get in a lot of dangerous situations. They can be, doing crazy things. And we have to remember that we are an example for them. And we also are we're the only ones that can give our kids a healthy parent. Nobody else can do that.
Yeah.
So, what I learned from my son after he got healthier was that he would look at me and he saw me sick and emaciated and crying all the time. I was a mess. And he said, that made me feel so guilty because I knew I was contributing to that. I was a major contributor to that. And so when I just started out by walking. All I did was I would just walk.
Yeah.
And he said, when I saw you go out for a walk or I saw you go out for coffee with your friends and start taking care of yourself, it just took that burden off of me. So I didn't have to worry about you. And I think that's something that a lot of parents don't understand, is that when we put ourselves first and take care of ourselves first, it actually is such a relief for our kids because they want to look at mom or dad and say, okay, they're good. They're healthy. They're all right. They need that, lighthouse to look at and say, okay, they're okay. And that it's extremely counterintuitive. I know.
Yeah. Well, you just mentioned the lighthouse model, which I love because I have 3 kids. I have 3 daughters, and they are looking at me, not just for guidance, but for the example. Like, what does a healthy life look like? And you just mentioned it. It includes going for walks. It includes going for coffee with my friends, right? That it includes eating healthy food. It includes going and working out. Those are, in that, I'm the lighthouse. And that's the beacon that we want to go to.
Absolutely. And I know that, especially I can only speak to the mom experience because I am a mom, not a dad, but I know that it can be really hard to think about ourselves because we're like, I just have to solve this problem. I have to resolve this crisis. I have to do this. And we put ourselves aside. And unfortunately, that can lead to really unfortunate circumstances with our health, which we can go into if you want. But in order to be able to be there for the long term, especially if you have a child that's struggling with substances, it's not a short-term thing that usually doesn't just resolve itself in 2 to 3 months or 6 months. It's really a long-term, challenge. And if you're not healthy and doing something for yourself and taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to be there for your child long-term. And you're right. They do look at us, as much as they kind of do it through like a side eye, like they don't want us to know that they're looking at us.
Of course.
But they are. And that we just have to remember that we are always being looked at, and we can't be saying, oh, I want you to be healthy. I want you to take care of yourself. I want you to not put those things in your body. And then we turn around and do it. That's, the worst thing that you could possibly do.
Yeah. Yeah. You started touching on a concept that how often when you're working with either in your life or with your clients, do you come up to the concept of when things get better? Right. So I deal with it in my life when I have when I retire, I will take care of myself. Right. But I just wonder how often, when my kid gets through this phase, and then I think you just mentioned like, then there'll just be another phase. I mean,
yes, there's, we tend to see the biggest crisis in front of us, the one that's the loudest, the most painful, causing the most disruption. And so we think, okay, when this gets resolved, when they graduate from high school, when they get into a treatment program, when they come home from a treatment program, when. And I can just like, spoiler alert, the whens never end. So we have to just start immediately and say, yes, I think of it as a both and. Yes, my kid is struggling and I can still take care of myself. Yes, my kid just left for treatment and I can also go on this walk this morning. And so trying to not separate those things, we have to just make it all part of how we're living our life every day.
Yeah. Yeah. You've seen firsthand, you've experienced firsthand, and you've worked with parents, just how relentless this stress can be day in and day out. How do you see physical health influencing the emotional resilience that we can have for ourselves, or our kids can have in those types of situations?
It's truly incredible. It's one of my favorite things to see. We have a private online community for moms and female caregivers, and they often come in and they've been neglecting themselves. They haven't been moving. They haven't been eating well. And when we say, hey, we're going to have this 1 week experiment, we might do a challenge or we might do something like that. And at the end of that week where we've said, every day all you just walk around the block or just get on your bike or get into the gym, whatever it is, dance in your kitchen in the morning, right? And they'll come back and say, oh my gosh, I feel amazing. Like all the crazy is still happening in my life, but somehow I feel better able to like respond to it. I'm calmer. My head is clearer. That brain fog is sort of clearing up. So, there's all kinds of studies that I'm sure as well that show that exercise and movement can be as effective, if not more than, some of the antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. And I see it
with none of the side effects.
None of the
side effects. Right.
Yeah. Yes, it's shocking. And I see it and you see it. And, I kind of want to shout it from the rooftops because I see so many women in particular so medicated. And I do think there's a place for medication 100%. But I think we would be wise to first try exercise and some vegetables and some water.
Thank you. So that is my water. That's my frustration with the medical community is someone comes in, they're sick, they need a change in their life, and the first thing is, here, let's look at what are you allergic to? Okay, let's choose a pill from there, as opposed to let's start with getting up and moving 5 minutes every hour. Right. Let's start with, okay, currently you're getting 3,000 steps a day. Let's bump it up to 7,000 steps a day. Yeah. Let's work out 3 days a week with a coach. Let's eat a salad every day. Let's eat protein every day for breakfast. Right. I mean, eat an apple. Right. Exactly. And let's do these things that your worst case scenario is that you lose fat and build muscle. That's your worst case scenario. And and if there's no mental benefit or it's so.
I know it's, and I think sometimes I think the crazy thing is that it's so basic that people almost want to overcomplicate. Well, but I have this thing and I have that thing, and then my family has this, so I think I need. And I'm like, okay. But maybe we could just try for a week. I'm a big fan of experiments. So instead of just saying, you need to change your diet, you need to move, we do a lot of experiment running. It's like, okay, this week, we're going to run this experiment. We're just gathering information. I don't even want you to think about the results. We're just gathering data. Let's see what happens when you fill in the blank, right?
Yep.
And the
when
results
you do
are
that,
always
is it for a week? Is that what you're saying?
Sometimes it's for a week. We tend to try and do 3 weeks because a week for our moms is usually like 1 day because they start something and then life goes sideways and their kid goes off the rails. And so we try to run them for about 3 weeks. And it is always amazing just to see the mental, yes, they feel better physically, of course, but the mental change is what we love to see because they'll say, I used to get into this conversation with my kid and I would blow up or I would scream or I would lose whatever. And because they've been moving and because they have some actual like real food and sustenance in their body, they can be more calm in that situation. They can say, hey, you know what? I need 5 minutes to go walk around the block and then I'm going to come back and deal with this. And it's, it's free. It's like you're not having to pay, anybody to tell you how to do that. You can just do it yourself. Obviously, you can get some help to do it the right way and to do it better. But just to start out, just walking, biking, dancing, is, it's so underrated.
Yes. I also like to add to that list, I was telling you, I gave a presentation earlier this week, and those things are on my list. I also cleaning the kitchen, folding some laundry. Those are on my list. And I start my day even when I work from home. I go on a commute. My commute is just a walk around the block.
Nice. I love that.
Right. It's super simple. I can habit stack it. Just walk up. Just go and then start my day. So let's talk more about you. Let's learn more about you. What does your do you have a weekly workout routine that you stick to?
I do. So this was new. My son struggled for about 6 years, and during those 6 years, I did nothing. And I was a gymnast growing up. Like I was fit, right? Yeah. And so letting myself kind of just fall apart for 6 years was pretty uncommon for me, but I was in that camp of like, I have to solve this crisis first, and then I will focus back on myself. I didn't know it was going to last 6 years. So so when I first started getting back moving, I literally walked around the block And I had such extreme pain in my legs that getting around a block was pretty difficult, actually. So I had to resolve a lot of mind-body connection stuff. And then I had never done yoga before. And I was like, what is this yoga thing that everybody's talking about?
Okay.
There must be something to it, right?
Yeah.
So I started just doing some videos online. 10 minutes, like literally nothing, just some stretching, some flexibility, some balance. And that was 8 years ago. So today I do a lot of resistance training, weights. We built a little gym in our garage during COVID, like many people did.
Like a lot of
And
people, yep.
It turns out that works really well for me because I'm not the type that's motivated to get up and get in some sort of a workout thing and then drive in my car. It just isn't totally me. So I work out in our little home garage gym, and we've got weights and mats and all this stuff. And so I try to do a mixture of yoga, Pilates, weightlifting, resistance training. I'm, I guess, postmenopausal. So it's really important for me, to build muscle.
Yep.
I did find out I have some osteopenia, so that freaked me out. So then I really upped my weights.
Okay, good.
So lots of walking. I can't run because of my gymnast past. My knees are just shot. So I do a lot of walking. But I try to move just as much as I can. If I'm on a phone call, I'm just walking around, talking on a conference call. But I have, I used to just be really into Pilates and yoga. And then when I got that osteopenia diagnosis, I was like, oh no. So really up the weights and I love it.
Good.
I love feeling strong,
Yeah, and for anyone listening to this who osteopenia, osteoporosis, that's a loss of bone mass. There's also sarcopenia, which is a loss of muscle mass. And so as we get older, we lose both muscle and bone density. And the only way to solve this problem is with strength training. You have to train under a load. Under a heavy load, heavy I put in quotes. If you can't see me, if you're just listening, I'm doing quotes. Oh, and apparently balloons are coming up. I don't know what that means. And balloons. So put up quotes. Whatever heavy is to you, we need to put our bodies under a load to increase muscle mass and increase bone mass.
Yes.
So I'm super excited to hear that you're doing some weight training. What does a typical day of eating look like for you?
Oh, wow. That's the big question. So one of the results that I have of ignoring my body for 6 years is I ended up with SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which basically means a lot of foods ferment in my upper intestines, which is extremely unpleasant. And so I've spent probably about 3 years working on correcting that. And just in general, food, I'm a stress non-eater. So during the time that my son was struggling, I just did not eat and was just skin and bones, which,
Well, you mentioned you were emaciated. And so that I wondered, I'm the same way. I'm a stress non-eater as well.
Yeah. And unfortunately for women, if that is you get told how great you look. You look amazing. Oh, look, you've lost weight. You look so great. And so it really messes with your mind about your weight loss because while I knew I was unhealthy because I was not eating, I was being told how great I looked. So it's a big thing, for women. Anyway, so I do eat a plant-based diet. It has really helped my entire system sort of reset from all of the issues that I went through. So I start out with usually like a soy yogurt, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, some berries. I'm not super hungry in the morning, so it's a struggle for me to get breakfast into my stomach. But I try to get at least, 10 grams of protein with the yogurt and the nuts and things like that. And then I usually have a warm type of lunch, like lentils and quinoa or lentils and rice and vegetables. I kind of snack on fruit throughout the day. I eat a handful of nuts now and then. Lots of, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds. What else? It's like, you just sort of get into the habit of eating. I don't really think about what I'm eating. But I eat a lot of tofu and tempeh, which are super high in protein. And I've also, along with the weights, been really trying to up my protein as well. Yep. So, I can't say that I love food because it's been with SIBO. It's really painful when you eat. Okay. So I'm working on sort of healing my relationship with food because right now I look at it as the enemy. It's like, it's a Russian roulette. Like if I eat that, am I going to feel really sick? Yep. So trying to work on that so that I can get back to a little bit more of a friendly relationship with food.
Got it. Yeah. Got it. So when you say you have a plant-based, it's plant only or is it plant mainly?
I would say it's plant predominantly. I will eat an egg here and there if I kind of really need to boost up my protein. I will eat a little bit of goat cheese. I have a big compassion for animals, so I'm very careful about, like, if I have goat cheese, I know it's a small family farm that's raising their goats very responsibly.
Yep.
But yeah, I would say 98% plant-based. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, let's switch back over into fitness. Is there a floor, like this minimum floor that you hit every day? Like the worst day ever, but you are definitely going to do this in a day?
From a movement standpoint, I definitely have to walk. I definitely have to walk at least twice a day, get outside. Getting outside early in the morning is very helpful for me. I live in Seattle, so we have a lot of gray.
Yeah.
And so as the more I can get outside, and even if it's gray, still get some light in my eyes and sort of start the day that way. And then in the afternoon, otherwise I'm a little bit of a workaholic also. So in the past, I would look up and it's 6:30 and I haven't moved pretty much all day, which is definitely not recommended or healthy.
Yep. So, Understood.
Yeah. At a minimum, getting outside and walking, but, also I was in PT for my knees for about 3 or 4 months last year. And if I don't keep up those exercises, I can feel it in my knees immediately within a week or so if I'm not doing that. So, I kind of make my knee care mandatory as well. So definitely getting out and getting outside is huge. Even if it's raining, being in Seattle, it's like, it can be very not motivating to get outside on some days. So good thing I have a big dog that needs a lot of walks.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I love the idea of walking your dog. I mean, you're not just doing it for you, doing it for the dog. My last question, at least for this piece, is what type of training you wish you would have started sooner?
Weights.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Not only for just knowing that I'm doing something good for my body, but the feeling, like, perfect example. This morning, my husband, we live in a townhouse. It's 4 stories. He said, we need to bring the barbecue down from the deck to the garage.
Love it.
Which is 4 flights of stairs. Yeah. And normally I have 4 boys, and normally there's one of them around to help, and they're big and they're muscular. And it was just the 2 of us. And I was like, okay, I'm on it, versus in the past, I would have been like, can't we wait till one of the kids is home? Yeah. And so just that feeling of like, I feel confident, I feel strong, I can pick up barbecue and walk down 4 flights of stairs and, and I'm fine. And so I would definitely say weights. Yeah.
Love it. If you could give our listeners only one action to move forward, what action would you recommend they take?
Start slow and small.
Okay.
Because if
what do you mean?
Start slow, meaning don't, walk into the gym or walk into your little home gym and try to start with 45-pound weights. Like I just actually wrote a newsletter about this last week. Start with 3 pounds. It's okay. Do 3 pounds for a week. Then you can move up to 5. And then you can move up to 8. And then you can move to 10. And then you can move to 12. I think what sometimes and I am guilty of this too, we dive in and we're like, I have a day where I've got a lot of energy and I've got a lot of motivation. And we start with the 15 pounds and we either hurt ourselves or then you're so sore for a few days. You're like, I don't want to do that. and we kind of lose that motivation. So I think starting small and realistic for yourself, for somebody else that might be starting with 10 pounds. For me, it was starting with 3. And that self-efficacy of seeing, oh, okay, I did that. Okay, now I can move up a little bit. That led me to be able to be more consistent than if I just went hard and fast a couple times a month, then I would just peter out and I wasn't able to get the benefit.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that's great advice. How can our listeners best reach you?
Hopestreamcommunity.org is our
Hopestreamcommunity.org. So the Hopestream Community, all one word?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yep, we're a nonprofit, and we exist to help parents who have kids struggling with substance use and mental health. And there's no shame, there's no embarrassment. We love you and we love your family, and any way we can help, we will. So that's where we are.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brenda, for our great conversation. I really enjoyed learning from you.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
Bye.